Abram was 99 years old. Then the Lord appeared to him and said to him, I am, and in Hebrew he said, El Shadday. What does this mean that God introduces himself to Abram as El Shadday? Normally our Bible translations render it with, I am the Almighty. In Exodus 6, verse 3, it says that this was the specific name of the fathers. It says here that the Lord says to Moses, I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as El Shadday, but I have not yet made myself known by my name, Yud-Heh, Vav-Heh, the Tetragrammaton. El Shaddai is the God who is with Israel as long as they travel in the desert from people to people, from one country to another, as long as they're stateless and without rights. In a way, very needy of protection. But this name, El Shaddai, carries a promise for the future, because the nation, the chosen nation on the way in the desert is the nation that goes towards the promised land. If we ask what El Shaddai means, I just summarize it. One rabbi, a German rabbi, Benno Jakob, beginning of last century, he wrote, etymologically, we cannot understand the word Shaddai. We don't know what it means. It's one thing that I very much appreciate with rabbinic exegetes, that they quite often say we don't know. Now, Benno Jakob in this case says, but it seems to be more a gain than a loss, that we don't know what it means, because we can listen in Hebrew what this word says. And it basically says, I am the God, yes, the Almighty, the one who has the strength, who is enough. And this is what throughout rabbinic exegesis is repeated, that El Shaddai is the God who is enough in every situation. And this again bears a very much New Testament message in it. If Paul writes to the Corinthians in 2 Corinthians 12 verse 9, he writes that the Lord has told him, my grace is sufficient, is enough for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. That means the nation of Israel, the fathers, Abraham as a migrant, without rights, without possibility to build a fortress, is very vulnerable. And now God says, I am El Shaddai. And actually, the Apostle Paul in 2 Corinthians answers, therefore I will boast all the more gladly of my weaknesses, so that the power of the Messiah may rest upon me. And this word that he uses there in Greek language, rest upon me, I would like to add like a tent. It actually bears this word, skene, in itself, that says it's like a tabernacle. Or Paul in Philippians 4, it's a quite occurring theme with the Apostle Paul. He says, I have learned in whatever situation to be independent, to be content, to be self-sufficient. The Greek word there says autarkis. I know how to stay low, and I know how to manage abundance. In any and every circumstance, I feel familiar in having plenty and being hungry, in abundance as well as in need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Or to Timothy, he writes, and I translate that directly from Greek as I understand it to you, a rich source of income is the fear of God with contentment. Nothing we brought into this world, we cannot take anything out of the world. If we have food and clothing, we will be content. For those who desire to be rich fall into temptation, into a snare, into many senseless and harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction. Paul here writes to his disciple, the love of money is the root of all evil things. It is through this craving that many have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves with many pangs. Or I have another passage here in Hebrews 13 verse 5. It says, keep your life free from the love of money. Be content with what you have, for he himself has said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. This is El Shadday who says, I go with you. I will provide everything that you need. I have here Psalms 73 in front of me, and I love the translation of Martin Luther, even though it's not literal. But he says, if only I have you, I do not ask for anything in heaven or earth. If my body and my soul dwindle, so you are God, always my comfort. You are the one who provides everything that I need. Now look, there's another side to this. If God is the one who is enough, it might be also that he tells the one who goes with him, this or that is enough for you. Even if you feel I should have more, because we have this drive as human beings to get more and more and more. And this is the other message of El Shadday, that God says, enough. Now look, for Abram, it continues, walk before me and be blameless. Which very much mirrors what Jesus said, you should be perfect, blameless, as your Father in heaven is perfect. And the Apostle Paul uses the same Greek word in 1 Corinthians 14, verse 20, where it parallels it with what is not blameless are the children. And he says, in a way, grow up, live according to that I am El Shadday to you.